good morning, whichever social media I decide to put this on. Um, well, I've been in and out of sleep since like 1 a.m. I don't even know when I went to bed. I probably went to bed around 6 p.m. and I woke up at like 12:30, and then I woke up again at 1, and I read a very interesting, well, somebody added me, or yeah, I think somebody followed me or liked me or something on Suno, which is where I put my music. And I decided to go and check out her page, and it was a lot of really negative energy put on that page. Um, and I thought it was so funny how many songs of "I Have Your Man," basically that was the motive of like every song. And I was like, that is so sad that the only thing that makes you feel validated is being in a relationship with a man who has a thing for somebody else. That is just, I'm so sorry for you, because you're so happy to have somebody that doesn't want you. I don't understand that. Um, so I was like, I'm going to leave this person in their little junk. I appreciate them looking into my stuff. Um, they can't see my music now, but by all means, you can check Facebook, because I posted the song Validation. That's in regards to you, sweetie, or multiple sweeties that feel that way toward me. I don't want anybody's man. I got God. I got the source of everything, who loves me and talks to me. Man, that's more powerful than any person on this earth, as far as I'm concerned. So you can have him. I don't even know who him is. That's the craziest part. Is like, I don't even know which man you're talking about. Like, all the men in my past, I don't want. I don't need, and I deserve better. So whichever man this person is talking about, have at it. I don't care. Didn't I say that in like multiple videos prior? I degaff. F. I don't give up. As like F. Anyhow. What I really wanted to talk about was there was a reading about, well, they said it was very young. I'm still assuming child. But they said the tarot card reader basically specified that they are not, what's the word I'm looking for? They define somebody who dies very young as somebody who dies from abnormal circumstances. But for me, I'm still taking it as young. I'm not as strong as other tarot card readers. I really don't genuinely believe that. I mean, maybe I could hone my talents better if I wasn't like homeless and trying to decide where the hell I'm gonna go in about 3 hours. But aside from a library, so I can do some documents. But other than that, I really have no idea. Gosh, going to libraries just reminds me of Richard all the time. It's like this remembrance that I need to just get rid of, But he was the one with me during homelessness, so I'm reminded of him constantly. It's kind of a double-bladed sword. Anyhow, but they were talking about somebody that died. I know I prayed. I have prayed so long and so hard and in tears about my family and my nephews, who I found out are pretty much my sons, because they were birthed using my eggs. And my sister and my brother's ex-wife. I mean, just the craziness that has unfolded in my life is just, sometimes I wish the secrets were still secrets, because sometimes it feels so unreal. But basically, and I doubt that she was a participant, so I'm pretty sure her son is her son, not related to me whatsoever. Shauna was one of the girls that I thought was my friend that was at Duke's Bar and Grill. I guess she had a relation with Darryl when I was with him, but Darryl was going into everything anyway, and I know he had a thing for her, and Shauna put her sexuality out there very easily. She never wore a bra. You could see her nipples out of her dresses all the time. I don't know if she wore, I don't think she wore underwear either. She was always dancing, but she always had a level of class. I mean, I never saw her butt cheeks. So to me, I'm like, oh, I don't see your butt cheeks. So I guess that's okay. But I mean, nipples always coming out. I always had a bra on. I like the mystery, you know, have a nice little push-up bra. You never really know what's going on. But I never really showed too much boobage. That was just not me. Anyway. But I found out she was a piece of trash, and she had relations with Darryl, who was my boyfriend at the time. But that's predictable again from him. I don't even feel anything about it, especially because I'm glad because I didn't get an STD. If I would have got an STD, then it would be a little different, and I'd be like, ooh, you're nasty, B-I-T-C-H. Anyway, but she had a son, and I believe he was 9 or something, and I was trying to get her to socialize with my little sister because my little sister has a son, and I was like, oh, cool, you know, my friend and my family, I can get them together and, you know, kind of build a nice little family community thing, you know. Little did I know, I did build that, except I built it unknowingly that they were all going to intend on destroying me. Unfortunately, for Shauna, Darryl has explosive personality disorder. Like I mentioned before, when he was in the military, he was still, I believe, honorably discharged even after beating the crap out of another soldier, because that soldier was hitting on Darryl's girlfriend at the time. And that man went back home, not from war, but from his own platoon, and whether or not it's the same platoon, but from his own, what do you call them, friendly forces, making him blind for the rest of his life. Darryl beat that man so bad, that man could no longer see. And to a degree, it haunted Darryl, but not really. I'm telling you that, not really. Because he felt good for being able to do it. So, and I have a feeling that Darryl probably snuck up on the guy. Because like I said, I fought Darryl. I think he didn't intend on hurting me when we fought. But like I said, he was pretty strong. When he threw me down hard. But I don't know, I guess it took it all out of him. I don't know, I guess his stamina was gone by the time we fought. And since he has explosive personality disorder, I guess Shauna didn't really know what she was getting her hands into. And now that all my money that you stole with him, Shauna, is gone, I know, unfortunately for you, since he has so many women that he was messing with and probably trafficking, since he trafficked me, even after, I think, either after, maybe before, maybe it was in 2022 or 2021 when he trafficked me. This is right before my mother was in the hospital. Maybe it was right before my mother got in the hospital. Maybe that was my sign, because once my mom got into the hospital, I was gone. I was by her side every day till she died. Well, 2 days before she died, because I was looking into the legalities of everything. And somebody ordered for my mother to be killed by Christy, the nurse, to be suffocated and to be ritualized for a destiny swap with me, because we had the same DNA, technically. Anyhow, I think the child that's missing is Shauna's son. Swift as a knife, and young. Initially, I heard another reading about this over a month ago, And I was so, I'm not going to lie, I was very self-absorbed about my nephews. I worry very much about them, my sons. But regardless of their title in this reality, the love I have for them is very deep. And the protection that I want to give them is very explosive. I would die for those children. I would die for them. One thing, my mother, I remember she was having a conversation with me, and I was at a time where I was very chaotic in the sense of I was explosive. I had no filter, and I was aggressive, and I was ready to fight anyone for anything. And my mother could feel that from me. And I remember I was home talking to her. We were always at the table, her with her coffee, me with my tea. And she kind of started to get teary-eyed and said she was upset with Justin. She was scared for Justin. I think there were a lot of things that she couldn't tell me. But I also think there were a lot of things that were kept from her. And she said, your brother, lost a lot of weight. I'm worried about him. I'm afraid he's going to die. He looks like he's going to pass out. I was like, I don't worry about Justin. He's Justin. He's fine. Evil will keep him alive. He's so spiteful. That'll keep him energetically, his body, it'll keep going, And I tried to laugh it off for her, but she's a mother. A mother loves her children. And she brought it into my court after that and said, Jackie, stop being so aggressive and trying to fight everybody. And I said, come on, Mommy, I'm not like that, only when I have to be. And she started to kind of cry, and she was like, I can't. She said, promise me. See, now I'm going to get all teary-eyed. Promise me that you don't die before me. And I said, of course I'm not going to die before you, Mommy, unless, some kind of unconscious thing happens. I said, but people die, Mommy. Who knows? I could walk outside and get hit by a bus. And I know that would upset you, but that's something that I can't necessarily control. And she was just like, promise me you're not going to die before me. She said, I will not be able to handle it. Well, I didn't die before her. But these people definitely tried to make me die 2 months after her. Definitely. My father, he did something to my mother's car, because my mother's car was tip-top shape. I only drove it 5 days, tip-top shape. And then all of a sudden, the last day when I had my car accident, and I had a miraculous recovery. I was in the hospital for a week, and I was being tortured the whole time in there. They wanted to put IV in me multiple times. My veins closed up. They couldn't get anything. They couldn't get anything in me anymore. They were using so many of my veins. It was fascinating. I was supposed to be in a neck brace for 8 months, but by 4 months, me personally was like, I'm tired of this now. Can I go back to work and do construction? And I did, but it was hard to lift things because you're using that area. I remember Julio was watching me, because I told him, I was like, remember, I'm not even supposed to be doing this. And he knew me. He knew I would break my back to help him. He and I worked at the same intensity. I had such respect for that. I guess he didn't. He was just using me as a mule. Well, I am mixed, so I guess in a sense I am a mule. But there were a couple times where I was trying to lift something, and I looked at him. I said, I can't do it. I said, I'm sorry, I want to, but I can't lift it because I can feel it. And this needs to heal. I could feel it opening. I could feel the bones pulling away, where it was fractured. I was like, I'm not going to make this worse. It just reminded me of an instance when Kalon was telling me how he fractured his neck. Somebody was trying to steal one of the utility vehicles that his company had, and he jumped grabbed it, and God, he was a maniac. Honorable maniac. Anyhow, the child in those tarot card readings, I believe it's Shauna's son, where they buried the body. Riverside, by Blaine Street, and I think it was Ottawa. I think that was Ottawa. There's a park farther down into the university area in UCR. It's set in a forestry area. There's trees there. It's beautiful. That's the only closest place I can think of to where Shauna lived, where it would be forestry. And like I said, it's the closest. So if you're trying to get away with something and you don't know where else to go, I think that would be the fastest to get rid of a body before it bleeds out, before it smells, and before reality sets in after you kill something and realize that you're still driving around with the body with it. And I think Darryl is the one that did it. Yeah. Like I said, I've been listening to these readings for over a month. I probably heard 3 or 4 readings in different manners. One of them was about my nephew, and I prayed to God. I already know one of my nephews is dead, the youngest, my brother's youngest son, which was technically my son. I never got to have a relationship with him, but it doesn't mean that I don't still mourn his death. He was alive a couple weeks ago, but he's not alive anymore. Not that I know of. I'll do a reading. I pray that he's still alive, but God likes to remind me that no matter how much I pray on things that I know facts of, it doesn't change the facts. Anyway, keep scrolling. God bless. Pray for the children that cannot protect themselves from these ugly people. And have mercy on your enemies, for they know not what they do. Even if you truly, genuinely believe with all your heart that they know exactly what they're doing. Anyway.